Hello, guys. Daniel Bachi Photography here, Thailand based photographer since 2009, shooting weddings since 2011. I often hear the question, how much does a Thailand wedding planner cost? And some people even asking, why are they so expensive? You can hire a wedding planner here in Thailand from anywhere from 20,000 Thai baht to up to 500,000 Thai baht per wedding. Obviously, this might change depending on the size of your wedding. A lot of wedding planners will charge a percentage of your overall budget, anywhere from 8% to 15% plus plus. So bigger your wedding is, more things you have, more requirements you have, more things they have to manage. So this is why they use the percentage. Now, I used to run a company called Luxury Events Phuket pre-COVID. Unfortunately, we had to close down during COVID, and I just didn't have the motivation to want to reopen when the borders and everything came back to life here in Thailand. So I have a little bit of experience in this field. So the job of a wedding planner is really extensive. I mean, I didn't really, when I got into the luxury events company, I knew it was going to be a challenge and it was a lot of work to plan a wedding. But I had really had no idea of actually how much work it is. And it's not just, you got to remember when you're hiring a wedding planner, most likely these wedding planners have a legitimate company. It's not just them. They're not an independent wedding planner, although there is a few out there that do it on their own, but they struggle with bigger events because there's just too much to manage, and they struggle taking on too much work because you need a team. Now, my company, I had two full-time wedding planners, two full-time event coordinators. I had an admin slash secretary. I had a stock control slash maintenance person. And we had to pay rent on an office, and we had to pay rent on storerooms for our event equipment. So it was very, very, very expensive to operate. And in many cases, even when I didn't consider ourselves swamped with too many weddings, I found our wedding planners and our staff were overworked and stressed out. So a lot of these companies, they have to employ a lot of staff. Now, all the staff that I just listed to you, many planners have much more than that. So the cost is very high, and the amount of work per just one wedding is the reason why I didn't reopen, is because it's too much. It's too much work for what you get paid. The wedding planner really has to hold your hand from day one. You know, we're talking sometimes 50 plus emails before even a bride will hire you and sign a contract with you. So you spent all that time on emails, and many times even you'll do a site inspection with them when they haven't signed a contract. You'll have video calls with them. So they're already invested hours and hours and hours, sometimes days of their time, and they might not get the contract. But when they do get the contract, if you do hire that wedding planner, now it's time to plan your wedding. Sometimes this is a year out, 2 years out, sometimes even less, okay? And they have to do every single detail, every detail. You know, from your napkins, the color of them, from the signage to the flowers and what kind of flowers. And they have to manage all the vendors for you, book them, deal with the financial side of getting everybody deposits and scheduled, and put together your schedule. And again, during the process, you'll probably have several video calls with them, and I'll probably 50 to 100 emails with them. And possibly you guys came twice, not just for a site inspection, but a lot of couples will come twice to visit their wedding planner and the venue to plan their wedding. So it's a tremendous amount of time, responsibility, and very expensive to staff. So when you ask the question, why is it so expensive? The amount of hours that you put in versus what they get paid is nowhere near enough. And that's why I chose not to reopen my event company. Now, some of these wedding planners, they do really well financially, but the amount of work they put in and the stress, it's not just the stress of dealing with planning the couple's wedding, which is extensive. But it's also some clients, some brides are easier than others. Some grooms are easier than others. Sometimes you just get that bridezilla or that really picky bride. She might be a sweetheart, but she's picky. She wants to do everything for herself. She has tantrums. She changes her mind every other day. And it causes so much drama for us. And then you got to understand running a company, all the politics you deal with in the office with, staff fighting, staff getting sick, staff leaving, having to hire more people. Like, it just doesn't end. It doesn't end. And these people are responsible for so much. So let's get a round of applause for wedding planners and a moment of silence. It's a lot of work. Okay. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I wish I can go into extensive detail of actually how much work it is to plan the average Thailand wedding. But that would be a 3-hour video. And frankly, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just giving you free advice. It's very important to find yourself a very experienced, knowledgeable, helpful wedding planner. How do you know they're good besides their online portfolio and their reviews, etc.? You'll know by how fast they maybe reply to your emails, how helpful they are during these emails. Okay. Again, just like with hiring a photographer, get them on video, have a meeting, see if you're comfortable with that person, because that's also important too. I find that when I work with wedding planners, a lot of the couples, their personalities will match the wedding planners. Hope this helps you. If you're wondering why wedding planners can cost a lot of money, there's a little info for you. And if you need a good wedding photographer, take a look at my website, my socials. Again, I've been shooting weddings here since 2011, almost 1,000 weddings under my belt. So thank you for watching. See you guys next time.